Morning students, Sairam. Today in English we will be continuing with the next part of our lesson number 5, Jane Eyre at Lowood Institution, part 2. Now in the first part we have learned about a girl named Jane who has lost both her parents and now she is being taken care of by her uncle Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed, unfortunately, he also dies and then he leaves her responsibility to Mrs. Reed, his wife. She had assured Mr. Reed that she would look after her as her own child. But after Mr. Reed dies, she starts mistreating Jane. And she was excluded from all the enjoyment in the family. So now Jane is left alone. And later, Mrs. Reed thinks of putting Jane into a Lowood institution. Now this is a charity institution which is run by Mr. Brocklehurst, the owner of the institution. So she takes Jane to that institution and she introduces Jane to Mr. Brocklehurst. When she is introducing Jane also, she tells him that she has a habit of deceiving. That means she is leaving a negative impression on Mr. Brocklehurst about Jane. Later, Mr. Brocklehurst also introduces in the same way to other pupils. He introduces Jane about the same to other pupils in the institution. So now Jane is feeling very lonely as she thinks that people over here will not behave properly with her or she will be left alone in the institution also. So let's see further what happens. How can they pity me after what Mr. Brocklehurst has said? Mr. Brocklehurst is not even liked here. Had he treated you as a special favourite, you would have found enemies, declared or covert, all around you. As it is, the greater number would offer you sympathy if they dared. Teachers and pupils may look coldly at you for a day or two, but friendly feelings are concealed in their hearts. And if you persevere in doing well, these feelings will long appear much more evidently, especially after their temporary suppression. Besides Jane, she paused. Well, Helen, said I, putting my hand into hers. She chafed my fingers gently to warm them and went on. If the entire world hated you and believed you to be wicked, while your own conscience approved you and absolved you from guilt, you would not be without friends. So now here she has a friend Helen Burns who is trying to console her. When she is sobbing, sitting in a room, Helen Burns comes with a cup of coffee and bread and then she tries to console her. So she says that nobody in the institution dislikes you. Everybody has sympathy towards you. So at that time, what Jane says, how can they pity me after what Brocklehurst has said? So she's telling, when Brocklehurst has said such things about me, how can anybody have sympathy towards me? How will they pity me? So Helen explains that Mr. Brocklehurst is not even liked here. Had he treated you as a special favourite, you would have found enemies. So even Mr. Brocklehurst is not liked by the pupils in the institution. So if suppose he would have treated Jane as a good girl or she would have been his favourite, then instead of friends she would have more of enemies because she would be his favourite. And so that is what she explains. But it's the opposite now. So as Mr. Brocklehurst is talking negative about you, that means everybody in the institution, others, they have sympathy towards you. Even the teachers and the pupils, they may coldly behave at first like that. But later they would show that friendly attitude towards you because they have that feeling towards you. And if you persevere in doing well and if she continues to be doing well, behaved well, so of course everybody will be good friend of hers. And so she will appear much more evidently, especially after their temporary suppression besides Jane. So she is telling, कि of course, now what do you mean by suppression? The action of forcibly stopping something. So after that, unfortunately, she'll find that everybody has become friends with her, because that would be for a smaller period of time that they would remember such thing, and after some time they would all forget this and they would make friends with her. Well, Helen said, I putting my hands into hers, she chapped my fingers gently to warm them. What do you mean by chap? That is rubbed. We rub our hands like this, na? So if the entire world hated you and believed you to be wicked, while your own conscience approved you and absolved you from guilt, you would not be without friends. So what she is telling is, suppose the whole world is against you, you feel, but if your own soul, your own conscience is telling you that no, you are really a good person, so of course you are going to be good in the world for everybody. So believe in your own self. Don't just bother about what others think about you. Right? Yes. So next. No, I know I should think well of myself. But that is not enough. If others do not love me, I would rather die than live. I cannot bear to be solitary and hatred. To gain some real affection from you or Miss Temple or any other whom I truly love, I would willingly submit to have the bone of my arm broken or to let a bull toss me. Or now here what she is telling, okay, of course I know if I believe in myself, everything will be good. But if others don't love me, what is the point in me believing in myself? Of course, everybody should have that positive thinking towards me also. So instead of living like this, I would rather die. So you can see again negative thoughts coming into her minds. I cannot bear to be solitary or hated. So she is telling, I cannot live like this alone and hated by others. So to gain some real affection from you or Miss Temple or any other whom I truly love, I would willingly submit to have the bone of my arm broken. So in order to get love and affection from the people, especially like Miss Temple and Helen Burns, her friend, so she is telling, I am ready to do anything. She is ready to die for that. She is ready to broke her arm for that, and also she is ready to get tossed by the bull. That means she is telling that in order to get love and affection from others, I am ready to do anything. Hush, Jane, you think too much. I know you are innocent of this charge, which Mr. Brocklehurst has weakly and pompously repeated at second hand from Mrs. Reed. For I read sincerity in your eyes. So now Helen is explaining her, come on Jane, why are you thinking so much? You think a lot. I know you are very innocent. And the charge which is put by Mr. Brocklehurst, he has put it weakly and pompously. What do you mean by pompously? Self-importantly. And so she is telling that is why, because your aunt Miss Reed has said such things to him, and that is what he is forwarding to others. So you don't think about it so deeply. Instead, you think about the present. How are you going to create positive attitude in the minds of others? Okay. Next. I was silent. Helen had calmed me. I rested my head on Helen's shoulder and we reposed in silence. We had not sat long thus when other person came in. I came on purpose to find you, Jane Eyre, said Miss Temple. I want you in my room, and as Helen Burns is with you, she may too. We followed the superintendent's guidance and crossed some intricate passages before we reached her apartment. It contained a good fire and looked cheerful. Miss Temple told Helen Burns to be seated in a low armchair on one side of the hearth and herself taking another. She called me to her side. So now they both had a nice talk, Helen and Jane, and they were just resting in that room, sitting together. At that time they could see somebody arriving in the room. And who was that? I came on purpose to find you, Jane Eyre. So that was Miss Temple who came searching for Jane Eyre. And as Helen was also there, so she calls both of them together. She takes them somewhere. Now where does she takes? We followed the superintendent's guidance and crossed some intricate passages before we reached her apartment. So she takes them to her apartment. Intricate means complicated. So as they were going their way through. So it contained a good fire and looked cheerful. So when she entered the room, there was a good fire in the inside, and the atmosphere was very cheerful. Miss Temple told Helen to be seated in a low armchair on one side of the hearth. So Miss Temple told Helen to sit in a low armchair on one side of the hearth, and herself taking another, she called me to her side. So Miss Temple, she sat on the other side and called Jane to her side, and she started talking with Jane. Now you can see both the girls following Miss Temple and going towards her apartment. Now they are having conversation here. Is it all over? She asked, looking down at my face. Have you cried your grief away? So now Miss Temple is asking, come on, is it all over? Is your grief away now? Have you cried out? Are you relaxed now? She is asking her. Now, what do you mean by hearth? Hearth means the floor at the base of a fireplace. So as they were sitting there, all three of them, nicely Miss Temple takes her, Jane goes to her, and then she questions her. See, when somebody, any elderly people, they call you next to them, make you sit, and they talk very friendly to you, you also feel happy. You feel, and you openly start talking about everything. You open up your feelings in front of them because you need somebody to share. I'm afraid I never shall do that. So then she's telling, I'm afraid I will never be able to do that. So Miss Temple is asking, why? Because I have been wrongly accused, and you, ma'am, and everybody else will now think me wicked. So she is telling, I am being very badly accused by Mr. Brocklehurst, and because of which, ma'am, you and all the other pupils in the institution will think that I am really a wicked person. Because I have been, we shall think you what you prove. So what Miss Temple is saying? Don't worry. We are not going to believe in what others say. We are going to think about you as you prove yourself staying in this institution. Yourself to be my child. Continue to act as a good girl and you will satisfy us. So then she is telling, you prove yourself. Continue to be a good girl, and of course then your behavior is going to satisfy us. Shall I, Miss Temple? So now she is very happy. Somebody is trying to give her a positive thinking and trying to give her a support. No, come on, you can do it. If you change your behavior, if you try to prove yourself, of course you can change your thoughts in the minds of others. You will, said she, putting her arm round me. Now tell me, who is the lady whom Mr. Brocklehurst called your benefactress? So she is telling, of course, you can do so. So now you tell me, who is that lady about whom Mr. Brocklehurst was telling that she is your benefactress? What do you mean by benefactress? A woman who gives either money or a kind of help to any organization or institution. Right? So children, now we have done till here. The remaining part of the lesson we shall continue in our next part. Okay. Now till now here you all have understood what is the story about. Okay. So we shall just try to answer some questions here. Right. Who came searching for Jane? So who was the lady who came searching for Jane? Yes, it was Miss Temple who came searching for Jane. Where did the two girls go along with Miss Temple? Where did they go? Yes, the two girls went to Miss Temple's apartment. Where did Miss Temple ask Helen to sit? Miss Temple asked Helen to sit in a low arm chair. Now, as you know, you have to find out the synonyms, antonyms from the passage. So, let's find out. First is rested. So what is the synonym for rested? It is reposed, right? And the second, joyful. So joyful means cheerful. Okay. So children, I hope you all have understood till here what the lesson is about. We shall continue in our next part. Okay, the remaining part. Till then, thank you children.